Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to talk about a really innovative program at the food bank that serves two needs. My guest is Karen Joyner from the food bank and Chef Tyrone Carter, also from the food bank, but also from a different background. So, Karen, you want to introduce this program and tell us how it came about?
Sure. The culinary training program at Virginia Peninsula Foodbank started about 8.5 years ago after the food bank had moved into their current building. It's a brand new building. The board and the senior staff had the forethought to include a commercial kitchen within the boundaries of the food bank. A lot of people who have never been to the food bank have no idea that we have
the new facility is so beautiful.
I mean, I'm still commercial kitchen in the middle of the food bank. And the reason for that is that we have a program called Kids Cafe that serves underprivileged children who are in community centers, mainly after school, but in the summertime as well when they're out of school. We're providing the hot, nutritionally balanced meals for those children at community centers and youth centers and places like C. Waldo Scott, Y.H. Thomas Community Center, the YMCA, et cetera. And in the past, when the food bank was at the location in Newport News, it was a tiny little location, and the staff and volunteers were basically making sandwiches.
They were making,
for the Kids Cafe program. And now with this program, we're able to combine job training as well as getting hot, nutritionally appealing, kid-friendly meals out every day.
And that's what's so wonderful about this, is it really is doing two things. You, chef, are training people to be chefs, and you're feeding people. It is serious, on the job, let's get it all out and learn stuff moving quickly, right?
Absolutely. We would not be operating one program without the other. If we did not have the culinary training program, we would go back to probably giving the kids cold sandwiches every day, and that gets old really fast.
So people who are unemployed, underemployed, looking for maybe a career, maybe they didn't specialize in something or get training, can apply to do this, and it is free training, but they're putting in the hours, right?
Absolutely. It's a 12-week class, other than in the summer, because we follow the school calendar. In the summer, it's 10 weeks, a little more condensed. But they are at the food bank every day, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 to about 3:30 or 4. The first half of the day, they are in the kitchen with Chef Tyrone and our production chef, Chef Latria Logan, and they are preparing the meals for our Kids Cafe program. They're also learning culinary skills from Chef. And then in the afternoon, they move into a different room that's set up as a training room, and they receive training on life skills and job skills through community volunteers. They learn about leadership, time management, conflict resolution, resume writing, interviewing skills. And throughout the whole 12-week program, they're learning about food safety, because that's utmost important at the food bank.
Oh, yeah. Food safety, it's important, but it's also important for your career. You've got to have that certification. You've got to know what you're doing. It is crucial for all of us.
Absolutely.
Well, Chef, what is your background? You've been a chef for your whole life?
Have not been a chef my whole life. I was in the Air Force for 24 years, retired at the Langley Air Force Base, so I stayed local.
And you were not a chef during your Air Force career?
During my Air Force career, no. I worked avionics. I worked on, radar warning systems. I worked on SATCOM communications. So things on the aircraft or helicopters that help it to fly, but it's not necessary to fly.
Gotcha. So this is quite a change for you.
Well, no, because one of my first jobs was in the kitchen. I was 13 years old. I worked in an Italian restaurant, and that's where I got the cooking bug. So throughout my time living in my military career, I was always cooking. I was always the guy when we have Thanksgiving get-togethers. I was the guy frying the turkeys. When we have, birthdays.
You should come to my house.
Right. So I was always involved in food with somewhere in my life. So once I retired, it was like second nature, do what I like.
So the hobby became the career, the second career.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that's interesting about this is that they really do get training. It's not just that they come in and cook for 12 weeks. I mean, I talked to one of your graduates who is employed at a restaurant now as the chef, and it's so cool how you're very good at the training. I mean, Delvin Moore was very enthusiastic about it.
It's a lot more than what people think coming in. They think it's a cooking school, a cooking class. We hear a lot of mainly older individuals say, oh, I want to learn how to cook. It's not about that. It's about making changes in your life. What we like to say is we give the participants the tools to help them make their change in their lives. It's for, like you said, people who are unemployed, underemployed. It's not just to learn how to cook.
And it's, so when they graduate, when they finish the program, what are they skilled to do? Do they move in as a line cook? Does it depend on the restaurant? I mean, what are their options?
Well, they learn the fundamentals in cooking and baking, like you would at any culinary institute, any school. So I graduated from Stratford University, so I have a foundation. I understand what the fundamentals are. But they can go in and be a line cook. They can go in and be a kitchen manager because they understand food safety. They know how a kitchen is supposed to be ran, how a kitchen is supposed to be kept clean. Like she said, food safety should be in the forefront of your mind before you even start cooking.
Right.
You can have a nice, beautiful dish, but if you're not doing the safety things, someone can get sick. So they learn about cross-contamination, how to keep things segregated. They learn how to cook food properly for the public, because what you cook at home is different than what you cook for the public. So you have to learn the proper procedures. You have to learn ServSafe, which is a national certification that tells that you understand how to keep food safe and how to keep things segregated and all the regulations involved in cooking. So they can go and be a line cook. They can work in the pastry department at a restaurant or at a Farm Fresh or Kroger's, which is our sponsor, which is sponsoring our program. So Kroger has committed to us for 3 years. So they've said, hey, we think this is a good program, so we want to sponsor you guys. So they have sponsored us. So they can go and work in the supermarkets, they can go work in restaurants, they can start their own catering business. So they get the foundations from me, and then they can build upon that.
In your foundation, you just mentioned Stratford, but it wasn't just that. And it wasn't just the hobby. You were employed as a chef at, where did you tell me?
At the Williamsburg Lodge, the Williamsburg Inn in Colonial Williamsburg. So I've worked there. I've worked with the military at Fort Eustis. So I understand how to cook. I understand what people are looking for. I understand how to teach people because people all come with different mindsets. So we start with the basics. It's like in the military. Everybody goes to basic training. So this is like basic training for culinary. So they come in, we get everybody on the same page. The way I'm dressed and presented, we want our students to be this way. So we get them chef jackets, chef hats. They get in the kitchen and they perform like a chef. They learn what's needed to be done. I mean, the first 2 weeks, myself or my assistant prepare lunch for them. After we start teaching them things, they start preparing lunch for themselves. So they get a lunch, from scratch lunch. It's not like we're taking out, things from the freezer and packages. No, we're making chicken Alfredo from scratch. And these are some of the meals that we make for our kids also.
That's wonderful. Because I imagine there's a difference in the palates and tastes of your students that you're feeding versus Williamsburg Inn, Williamsburg Lodge. Right. But kids need to know what's healthy and to experiment a little bit too sometimes beyond pizza and mac and cheese.
Right.
So what kinds of foods do you prepare for the students?
Well,
or did your students prepare for the school students, the children, yeah?
Well, we do, like I said, we do chicken Alfredo, we do beef stroganoff. I think today they're having chili, so it's kid-friendly meals. Meals that we know that kids are going to eat. That's something they may not always get at home, something that's tasty, something that, we did a barbecue chicken last week. It was like a shredded pork, but it was barbecue chicken. The kids love that. I've gotten comments, they was like, man, we need that more on the menu. So I plan the menu, so I try to make, the food that they're going to eat. Sometimes we do the chicken nuggets, hot dogs, but we try to give them a variety of things that we know the kids are going to eat and that follow USDA guidelines for nutrition.
That's so cool. So How many people have gone through this program? You said it's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's been around about 8 years. We've had, through the December graduating class, we've graduated 138 individuals. It's a very disciplined program,
Wow.
so a lot more than that have started the program, and they just couldn't keep up with the discipline that's required, because the goal of the program is to make them the best employees that they can be, and no employer...
They're work ready at the end. They really
Absolutely. No employer wants somebody who's not going to show up every day, somebody who's going to come in late. So we have certain guidelines that they have to adhere to, and either we have to ask them to leave because they've not adhered to our guidelines, or they leave themselves and stop showing up because it's too disciplined for them.
And that, I think, is you're right, there's this dual challenge for people who maybe went all the way through high school, have even a high school degree, but didn't have a work plan, didn't have a career plan, and haven't maybe been employed full time, maybe haven't had that rigorous of an experience, and it is hard. I mean, that is sort of the first level of being job ready, is knowing to show up on time. And people who are disadvantaged have transportation issues, or young kids, or all kinds of things that make that real complicated. But to work full time in a career, you've got to figure out how to deal with those, and that's probably the first challenge.
Absolutely. We have challenges with daycare. Sometimes we have some students who are homeless, and we've had very few who have made it through the 12 weeks, but generally, because they're moving around a lot, they don't usually make it. But we want them to try. We want to see success, and we will help them, try and work through those issues. We'll allow them time if they have a court date, or within reason daycare issues, because again, future employers are not necessarily going to be so kind.
Right.
But we're trying to lift them up and get them to the next level in their life.
So how do people hear about this program?
Well, we go out and advertise that we're recruiting for students 4 times a year. We go and talk to the sheriff's department for people who are transitioning out of reentry. Yes, we send it out. Because that can be
hard to get that job.
Yes, this will give them a chance. And it has a great reputation. So if their future employer finds out that they have been through this program, that's a plus to them. And like I said, it's very disciplined, so they recognize the discipline. We put it out in email distribution lists. We leave information in various places. We go to career fairs, places like that.
Where people are looking
Yeah,
to
we're always
be hired.
trying to recruit and interview for this, because there's such a need. There's so many people in our community that are hanging out on street corners sometimes when they can be productive members of society, and this helps them make that change. They have to make that change themselves.
Well, and knowing how much the restaurant business is growing, I mean, the statistics, even during the recession, people were eating out more. People, don't have time, or their lifestyle doesn't allow them to cook from scratch as much as they used to. And so the restaurant business or takeout business, grocery store takeout is huge. Like, all that sector is growing.
Absolutely. There is a huge need for people who are trained in food safety and just basic culinary skills. And we are constantly getting phone calls from our grocery store partners and convalescent homes, hotels, and restaurants that say, I want to hire your graduates. And if our graduates are already fully employed, or we can't locate them because they still tend to move around, they have to wait and know that, our next class will graduate sometime in March, and then we'll have a class that graduates in June, and then August, and then December. Those are our 4 dates.
So they can count on that.
Right.
So do people get jobs, people who successfully complete the program, how quickly did they get jobs? What have you seen? What kinds of places are they going?
Well, 90% of our graduates within 30 days of graduating are employed, full-time employment.
Full-time.
Full-time
Because, in a
employment.
restaurant, they don't always have full-time, and you're kind of bouncing back and forth. So that's a huge statistic.
Yeah, we've worked very hard with some of our grocery store partners. Food Lion has hired, I can't even count how many of our graduates they've hired over the past year or so. Because they have lots of needs for people who have trained in food safety.
Food handling.
Yep.
And that's like jobs with benefits. Like restaurants don't always, small restaurant. I mean, a big restaurant company would have benefits, but that's amazing. So, okay, what kind of wages can people expect starting out? And I assume they can grow from there.
Well, it just depends on, like you say, the restaurant or the supermarket, but usually about $10 an hour. They're starting out, some places offer $13, $14 an hour. So it just depends on the establishment or where they're going. But like I said, they're going in trained. So they understand training. They understand what needs to be done. So the employer doesn't have to invest that time in them. They say, okay, you are ready to work.
Right.
One of our graduates that graduated last summer, he's working in a Food Line. He's a deli manager. So he went from our training program to a manager. He's managing 8 people.
Wow.
So he could step in that position from this training.
And
so
he was able to probably train them,
right,
too,
so
as they hired new people.
Yeah, so he's the manager of the deli, so he's in charge, and he has to make sure everything is clean properly, that people come in, work properly. If you're sick, you got to call out. So he understands all that, food safety, and he's able to work there and manage and train other people. So, and that's just from this training. So he didn't have any additional training. He just went from graduate to a deli manager.
Wow.
So, but like you said, it's the person has to make that change. The person has to make that commitment, have to have that understanding and say, hey, I want to change my life. So that's what we try to do. We try to get people to change their mindset because what you've been doing hasn't been working.
Right.
So let's try something different. Give this course a chance, give this training a chance. Like you say, it's 12 weeks, you're basically volunteering, but you're helping out the community.
Well, it's free tuition, too. I mean, come on, that's quite a deal.
Right.
Absolutely. Those culinary graduates or culinary schools are very expensive.
Yes, they are.
and if you drop out of those, you still have that debt you have to pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a huge benefit. So how many students do you take on at a time?
Generally, because of the size of our commercial kitchen, we can't really take on more than 10 or 12.
Oh, that's still a good size. Yeah, and that's gives each of them a chance to be very hands-on and to get personal attention from the chef, too. That's a great size class.
Absolutely.
Wow. What, we need to close. I'm so excited about this, I could keep talking. But what have I not asked you about that you want to emphasize?
Well, I just want to thank Kroger, who has agreed to underwrite the costs of this program for the next 3 years.
That's amazing.
And ask if anybody is interested in this program to contact us at the food bank. Jacqueline Linder is our Director of Nutrition Programs, and she does the interviewing along with Chef. You have to apply, you have to write a paragraph as to why you want to be part of this program, because again, it's not just a cooking class. And then you have to come in for an interview. And they can generally tell from what, their history, whether somebody's right for the program and whether it's going to be the right place for them.
But it doesn't have to be a clean history, as you said.
No,
you're
absolutely
looking
not.
for people who are ready to change, but maybe haven't been quite where they needed to be in the past.
Right. A lot of people don't give people who are coming out of prison or who have maybe failed in something in their life, they don't give them a chance. This gives everybody a chance, and it's up to them to take that chance and run with it and be successful, because there's no reason why we don't want everybody to be successful. So,
and it's a good deal for the employers because, again, they've not had to foot the bill for the training.
Absolutely.
They've not had to have that learning period. People come in ready to go.
And we also have had
And you're feeding how many students a day?
At least 400. Some days are higher than that, and even more in the summertime because we participate in the summer food seating program where we do breakfast and lunch each day. But I wanted to mention that we have also had some students in our classes that are on the autism spectrum. So people can be productive no matter where they start, and they are some of the best employees that we have graduated. So this is really for everyone. If they want to make a change in their lives, or if they want some job training, that's what it's all about. It's job training so that they can be successful.
So Chef, why do you do it? Why are you a teacher now instead of just doing the cooking yourself?
I mean, it's paths in life, you know. I worked in the military, I did that career, and then I worked out in the restaurant field. When this opportunity came up, I didn't know anything about it, like she said. I didn't know anything about a culinary training program at the food bank. Once I came, I saw how much we're helping the community, how much I'm helping people. It's like when you see that light bulb goes off in people's head, it's like, yes, you got it, you understand. You know, it's just not about me, it's about keeping our community, uplifting our community, you know. Hunger is, you know, a challenge. Each year we're dealing with the hunger, and kids have no choice in being hungry. So we're trying to alleviate that. We're trying to make sure that kids get the meals that they're supposed to, so they can learn. Because if you're hungry, you're focusing on that hunger. You're not focusing on what the teacher is trying to tell you to do.
You can't listen, so, you can't move forward. Yeah, it's so hard.
So for me, it's just giving back to the community, being part of this community, making sure that I can do my best with the skills that I have to help other people. So I love giving back. I love helping. To me, it's easy. Cooking is easy, you know, to me. You know, once you learn it, I can go on and pass it on to other people. So that's what I enjoy doing.
That's great. Well, thank you both so much for coming and sharing this information.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope that you will keep the food bank in your thoughts. Of course, remember that they're a charity and they do accept donations to pass along to others, and they can do a lot to stretch a dollar. But also think about how this program might serve someone you know if they're in that transitional, don't really have a job or a career stage, or how they're feeding so many students. It's doing double duty to help people in our community. Thanks for watching.